What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Battlefield Joe 97 here, giving you the first Gaming Pickups Plus video of the year, January Gaming Pickups Plus. And as you see from the background of this video and my t-shirt that I'm wearing, it's all about Nintendo 64. And since last month was my birthday and I hit the 20-year mark, I felt a bit nostalgic in saying that, hey, I like to own a Nintendo 64 again instead of just buying Virtual Console N64 games on the Wii and the Wii U eShop. And of course, that's what I did. Last month, on January 4th, I bought myself a Nintendo 64, the Jungle Green variant for Donkey Kong 64 that includes the game, the console, and the Jungle Green controller itself, which I gotta say, it's very rare to ever see a see-through console. I think the last time I ever seen that was maybe, I think, the DS or the Game Boy. It's very long time since I actually seen a brand new system with a see-through design sold in the market, but definitely it has this appealing quality to it. And of course, alongside with the game and controller and the console, includes the expansion pack, which you have to have for Donkey Kong 64, and have it for your N64 collection, because certain games will be enhanced with the expansion pack and also require it for certain levels. I think Perfect Dark is another example of that, which is also made by Rare. But anyhow, the Nintendo 64, definitely one of the first video game consoles that I played along with the original PlayStation, and was a part of my childhood, so I definitely have a lot of sentimental values for it. And at least with Pokemon Puzzle League and Donkey Kong 64, those were the games that I played a lot as a kid. But anyhow, let's get into the game, shall we? Because that's what this video series is about. So yeah, Donkey Kong 64, one of my favorite RareWare games of all time. Definitely my favorite Donkey Kong game of all time, next to Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of apes to choose from to go through the environment, collect certain bananas, coins, etc. And even though the story is pretty simplistic, I love the witty dialogue and the written humor that this game presents itself, just like any other RareWare game. And definitely packs in a lot of content and buck for your money if you're going to get this, the cartridge only or the box incomplete. The box complete, And definitely, even though there are certain instances of the game not aging well, like inverted controls, inverted camera, and maybe sometimes you just kind of are so overwhelmed with the amount of content that you have to traverse in order to beat the game, which I'll be honest here, I even have that in certain cases of playing through this game. I definitely still enjoyed my time playing Donkey Kong 64. I supported the official release when it released in the Wii U's eShop, and definitely bought a physical copy of the game as well. So definitely Donkey Kong 64, I still love it, I cherish it to the bottom of my heart. Definitely one of my favorite Donkey Kong and RareWare games of all time. And yeah, plop it into the system because I really enjoy it. And of course, another game from my childhood is Pokemon Puzzle League, which of course is the distinction of the only Pokemon game to be made in the US and only for the anime crowd. And of course, a lot of the 4Kids actors from New York, and some of them I think from other parts of the United States, lend their voices or reuse their voicing for the game itself. But definitely, I love the soundtrack of Puzzle League. It definitely takes cues from the Pokemon to be a master soundtrack, which I gotta say, definitely still one of the best 90s soundtracks of all time. Definitely go watch it. Definitely go listen to it. I think all of it is on Spotify and maybe Pandora, but you can definitely search it up on YouTube and listen to it as well, because it pumps my heart, man. Definitely pumps it up. Late 90s and early 2000 kids will only understand that. But anyhow, Pokemon Puzzle League, if any distinction, is Puzzle League, but with the Pokemon brand slapped to it. But of course, just like with any other Puzzle League game, it's addicting, it's traversal, and definitely it's fun to play with a bunch of people that in real life. And of course, out of sentiments, my brother and his cousin played this game with me the most, and definitely when the game was released in the Wii's Virtual Console, which I don't know if Nintendo or Game Freak re-released the game to the Wii U's eShop, but definitely when this thing was released in the Wii's Virtual Console, my brother, his cousin, and myself played this game so many times. We've broken the classic controller that we had to buy multiple classic controllers because of how intense we were trying to play this game. So definitely Pokemon Puzzle League, one of my favorite spin-off Pokemon games, and one of my favorite puzzle games of all time, next to Tetris. So yeah, Puzzle League, definitely a fun game to have if you're a Pokemon fan and a puzzle fan of the genre. And then, of course, I wanted to have this game for quite some time now, because I played, a legal ROM of Shadows of the Empire from its PC release. But before LucasArts released the game on PC, it was originally a Nintendo 64 exclusive. And along with the comic line that LucasArts released alongside the game, it was kind of a marketing ploy from LucasArts to actually reinvigorate the Star Wars brand so that eventually Lucas can see that, oh, people still cared about Star Wars after all these years. And, after the special edition releases of the movies, he then decided that, okay, people want more Star Wars movies. Here's the prequel movies. So, this game, its comics line, and its toys and action figures were the reason we have the prequels. So, make that as you will if you like Shadows of the Empire for the prequel era, or the Republic era of Star Wars in itself. But there are certain things about Shadows of the Empire that doesn't age well like any other N64 or PS1 game, but it still has that Star Wars feel to it. You play as a bounty hunter who traverses through multiple environments, including locations set within Episode 5. You're trying to go through numerous planets, etc., etc. And, controls feel awkward and weird, but once you play through the game enough hours like I do, the controls aren't really that bad as you get used to it. But anyhow, Shadows of the Empire has like a mission structure to it. Like the first mission is you actually traversing the spaceships, going over the Battle of Hoth, and trying to dismantle the Empire's arsenal, which is really fucking cool. And it definitely showcases a technological leap for me when playing through Shadows of the Empire on that mission, and then going into playing the new Star Wars game, or the latest Star Wars game, Star Wars Battlefront from EA and DICE, where you actually take control of one of those ships and try to stop an AT-AT fighter, an AT-AT. And it really is something to look at how far technology has advanced from the mid to late 90s to the mid 2010s. So that's really something to go by. But anyhow, Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars fan, love Star Wars. I couldn't live without having a complete box version of it, and I love it. But definitely I would recommend getting the PC version, which I think is on sale in GOG.com. It definitely would run much better than the N64 original, but, as a collector and as a Star Wars fan, I just had to have it in my collection, alongside with Puzzle League, Donkey Kong 64, and another Nintendo 64 game, which is a nice transition. And that, of course, is Hyper Heaven by Konami, which I can't really say anything more about the game because this game is one of those N64 games that requires the memory pack, which you have to put in the back of the Nintendo 64 controller. And I don't have that controller pack, so I had to play through a certain part of the game and then, turn it off, and then it's just going to save because this game requires the controller pack or the memory pack on top of the controller, so that's really something of a bad thing to go by. But anyhow, those are 4 Nintendo 64 games that I got over the course of January, and 2 of them were complete in box, 2 of them with just cartridges only. But definitely the Nintendo 64, revisiting it, was a fun in memory lane. And I definitely do have more N64 games to show in my February Gaming Pickups Plus video right now, and maybe buy more in the future to showcase and talk about, because I really do love the Nintendo 64. One of my favorite systems of all time. But anyhow, that's it for the gaming section. Now it's time for the Blu-rays that I got over the course of January, which of course I have not opened because I've been so preoccupied in watching the Unsolved Mystery episodes that Amazon Prime has included in their library of videos last month, and rewatching 24 for the 3rd time, which all the episodes, all the seasons, and even the TV movie in between seasons 6 and 7 are all on Amazon. So I've been preoccupied with that, along with the N64 games, PS4 games, etc. So I just bought them because why not, to include in the collection, and possibly later see it in the future. But anyhow, the first Blu-ray that I got is Studio Ghibli's Princess Mononoke, which of course I had the privilege of seeing the film twice in both English and Japanese when G-Kids had a theatrical run for this film in the month of January, which of course I saw at AMC Empire 25, just like with One Piece Film Gold. Definitely, if you want to hear my thoughts on One Piece Film Gold, definitely go into my last video where I talk about that, along with 3 anime films over the course of January, and I think maybe early February. But anyhow, Princess Mononoke, one of Studio Ghibli's finest films of all time. Definitely one of the best in terms of their catalog in the 90s. And yeah, what more can I say for this film? The English dub by Neil Gaiman, superb. Absolutely one of the best dubs for a anime movie to date. And yeah, I saw the film twice. I wanted to have it in my Blu-ray collection, and it's here. I haven't opened it yet, so probably sometime when I get other Ghibli films that I do a marathon of my own. And of course, I am a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and of course, in anticipation for Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions, which of course is one of those anime films that I was talking about in my last video in the Thoughts and Feels of Movies, I felt a bit festive to buy the Blu-ray of Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time, the second, or if you count in Japan, the third Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie for the franchise. And of course, it has crossover with Yugimoto, Jaden or Judai, and Yusei, where basically they team up to stop Paradox from screwing over the world, because a children's card game somehow destroys the world in this plot. But anyhow, it is what it is. I still have not opened this yet, because eventually when I do get to Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, the Japanese version, in Crunchyroll, some point in the middle of that series, the villain Paradox, who I think is an old man in that anime, turns out to be young, and screws over the timeline, at least this leading up to the events of the movie itself. So yeah, when that comes in, I'll definitely open up the wrappings and see the movie on my PS3 or PS4. And then, in my December Gaming Pickups Plus video, I bought the regular, or at least I pre-ordered the regular Blu-ray edition of the first set of Hunter x Hunter, the 2011 adaptation. Well, I didn't know that Vince Media would have a deal with Best Buy to have a limited edition steelbook variant of set 1. So I was a bit pissed, and I couldn't find it in any of the other Best Buys. But I did get the chance to finally find it over the course of January, and this is the limited edition steelbook of the first set of Hunter x Hunter, which I think the difference between this and the regular Blu-ray edition of Hunter x Hunter is that I think this has a voucher code for the first volume of Hunter x Hunter, the digital voucher for your iPhone, Android, etc. So you can, read through the first volume of Hunter x Hunter wherever you go or on your computer, legally. And yeah, definitely I am an advocate of supporting the official release, and I do love the 2011 adaptation of Hunter x Hunter, some bits of it compared to the 90s adaptation of Hunter x Hunter. So yeah, I put my money where my mouth is, and I supported the official release. Regular Blu-ray edition and limited edition steelbook edition, which I don't know if the second set, which has Hisoka in the cover, is going to have a limited edition release on Best Buy, because I want to get that limited edition steelbook, then the regular one, just in case, so I don't feel like I'm paying $100 plus for both editions of the same thing. But yeah, definitely I supported the official release. I wanted the steelbook variant of this, and that's what I got for it. So yeah, aside from the Blu-rays, it's time for the miscellaneous stuff, which of course, in anticipation for Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions, which I said before in this video, go check out the last video that I did for my thoughts on the film as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. But as someone who used to love Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot, the movie was really good in the fact that it made me actually want to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, which the last time I bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards was during the 5Ds era, and it was like, I think, before the, the hieroglyphics, or whatever they're called in the Nausicaa line monsters, which were the equivalent of the Sacred Beasts in GX and the Egyptian God cards in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And speaking of Egyptian God cards, nice transition there, were God cards. Now, when you saw the movie in the theater, when you're in the first person in line, you were able to get some exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards for theatrical distribution. And of course, this was the pack they gave us, and a second one that I got, being the first in line, was Obelisk the Tormentor. And the difference is striking, which of course, maybe if I can turn off the blind, you can see the light. This Obelisk the Tormentor is a gold card, and it's glitter with all sorts of shit, which I don't know if the lighting is good, but it really looks spectacular in person. And definitely was a nice treat to actually have this and another copy of the same card, which I'm not going to open because I already have this out in my collection. And of course, it invigorated me to actually get the other versions of the other God cards. And that's the Shonen Jump Kazuki Takahashi design Slide for the Sky Dragon, which completes the Obelisk and Wind Dragon of Ra Kazuki Takahashi design cards that were distributed in Shonen Jump. which for some reason I didn't get this card from Finn's Media in the mail, so I had to buy it on eBay, buy it off eBay, which was fucking ridiculous. But anyhow, it looks spectacular, it looks beautiful, it definitely completes the Shonen Jump Kazuki Takahashi collection of the God cards. And also, I didn't know this, but in the movie pack, The Dark Side of Dimensions, the Slifer the Sky Dragon was actually in these cards, and this is the regular variant of Slifer the Sky Dragon, which is holographic, and the gold edition, which has gold across the border, and it glitters, well, not glitters, it has like a holographic version of it as well. So I got the regular and the gold edition of the same card in the Dark Side of Dimensions pack, which of course I cheated again because I got it on eBay, because why not? So that'll be it for the God cards. But in the movie pack, which is the gold edition, 5 cards for each pack, and in this pack of it, I actually had 2 gold cards. And these 2 gold cards are Dusa, the Meteor Cubic Vessel, which is the card that was used by the antagonist of the movie, and of course the 7th or 8th version of Blue Eyes the White Dragon, this time in gold and glittering, and it's fucking beautiful, just like with the Obelix card for theater distribution, which is really cool. I can't even, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Blue Eyes White Dragon compared to Dark Magician, but this looks really fucking cool. It definitely is really good in my Blue Eyes collection. But yeah, that's it for the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Time for the manga that I bought throughout January. And of course, as a JoJo fan, I wanted to get Rohan at the Louvre, a side story that has Rohan traveling to the Louvre in Paris for a mystery that surrounded his childhood. Or not childhood, as teenhood, or whatever you call it. And that's all I can say, because it really is an adventurous kind of tale, and I don't know if it's the work of an anime stand or not, but definitely, if you're a JoJo fan, if you have not had this in your collection, or at least read it, do yourself a favor and read it. Because Hirohiko Araki's beautiful art style from Steel Ball Run definitely shows up in this story, and, you know, the book smells really amazing, I can definitely say that. And for the money that was worth it, for $20 plus taxes, it definitely is worth the investment. To have all the pages in color, seeing the beautiful, beautiful color palette that Araki put for the story. And yeah, what's more to say? If you're a JoJo fan, if you've not read this, what's wrong with you? You know? And of course, I bought 2 Japanese Weekly Shonen Jump issues. And the only reason I even bought this 6th 2017 issue is, of course, it has One Piece in the front cover, and of course, it adds some special perks, like a poster for One Piece, like the poster for the chapter in a 2017 calendar, and in the back of this calendar, another calendar version of this, but this time I think it was before the Part 2 time skip happened for this art, which is really fucking cool, to say the least. I don't know if the camera actually has this angle or not, but it really is cool. And yeah, it's another Shonen Jump issue in the collection, which is already taking up enough space as it is in my cabinet, but I got it anyway because I love fucking One Piece. And of course, if you notice in the spinals for the 2017 issues of Shonen Jump, it has One Piece to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the franchise. And the second and last thing to showcase for January Game Pickups Plus is this Weekly Shonen Jump issue that I have not opened yet. And the only reason I even bought this is because on the front cover it has the Neverland, whatever it's called. I keep forgetting it. I have a lot of stuff in my head right now to go by it, but definitely this story is one of the best that Shonen Jump has as of right now, and I would really, really love if Madhouse or any other studio had the chance to do an anime adaptation, because it really does deserve that. Because as of right now, this and My Hero Academia are one of the best new starter series that Shonen Jump has right now in its catalog. But definitely, I got this because I love this series, and I really do love where it's going in the chapters in Weekly. And yeah, I really love this series. The Promised Neverland, that's what it's called. The Promised Neverland. So if you have not read this series yet, do yourself a favor and do so now. Well, unless you unless you haven't like subscribed legally for the Shonen Jump issues by Vince Media, which definitely I'm hoping this year Vince Media will translate volumes 1 and 2 of The Promised Neverland so I can support the official release, because I really do love this franchise. But anyhow, enough with the fan gas. I mean, that's it for all the pickups that I had in January gaming. Pickups Plus for this video, and definitely I really did enjoy the first start of the year. Definitely got a new console, well, an old console, but definitely added in the N64 back to my library of games, and I can't wait to get more games for the system and everything else, yada 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 yada, etc. So anyhow, what are your thoughts on the pickups that I got from last month? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Throw some suggestions in the comment section below of what things that I should get in the future, so I can showcase for this series of videos. This is Battlefield Joe 97. Catch you guys later.